All right, how to draw cylinders and pyramids. Basically, if you look at a cylinder, it's just basically a circle. If you look straight on it, it's a circle. But as you turn that circle to the side, the circle becomes an ellipse shape. So it's no longer a circle here, it's an ellipse. So if I'm drawing a pyramid, I'm going to draw that ellipse, okay, like so. Okay? Now, then I'm going to add sides to it, straight down. That's pretty simple. Now this part's pretty simple too, but basically the bottom of your cylinder has to curve, follow the curve that's going right here. So if it curves about like this, and there I've got my basic cylinder with a curved bottom, okay? Now this is what, if you draw a cylinder though, and it has an ellipse like this, and then you have the sides, and you do this on the bottom, well that's just wrong. It should curve like this, okay? Now this particular cylinder's got an extra little ridge inside here, so inside here I'd have another curve like this. So I can see the top ridge there. Of course, mine's pretty sketchy because I just use this little orange pencil, but you get the idea, okay? So there's your basic cylinder. Now, just a couple things about drawing ellipses. When I do ellipses, I kind of practice making an ellipse like this. A lot of times kids will make the mistake. There's usually three bad ellipses. One is an ellipse that has points on the end. It looks like an eye. Another would be an ellipse that looks more like a sausage. It's like flat on the top and bottom. Or a third would be an ellipse that's maybe flat and then rounded on top. So if I would divide a good ellipse right in half, like this one, it pretty much have the same thing on both sides. If I drive this one in half at the peaks, you can see there's much more on top. So make sure your ellipse doesn't look like any of these three, and more like this one. Put your sides on it and then curve the bottom. Okay, that's pretty simple. Next, I'm drawing a pyramid. A pyramid really is just, it's got a bottom just like a regular box. Now if I'm looking at my regular pyramid from the side, okay, so in other words I can see equally these two sides. So if I draw that pyramid, I'm going to have basically an angle like this, okay, so this angle and this angle are going to be about the same. Then straight above here would be the point. Just connect it to that point. Got my pyramid. Pretty simple. Now, let's say I can see a lot of one side. Like this, if I turn it this way, I can see a lot of this side and hardly any of this side. So just like the boxes earlier, this is going to be at a really low angle here. And then this will be at a really high angle, like that. So I'm only seeing a little bit of one side and a lot of the other side. Now, this is a mistake some kids make. They'll just randomly pick a point up here and say, okay, there's the point of my pyramid, and they connect to that point. But now my pyramid, this one looks like it's leaning a little bit, okay? So this is how you find the point on a pyramid. Let's say I've got one side that's a little longer. Let's do it again. Let's make one here. Let's say the side is pretty long but pretty flat, and this side's pretty high, but it's short, okay? Now, if I was to take a pencil and just kind of put a line on either side of this, on either side, so that's the width of my pyramid. I'd want to pick a spot right between these two lines, and that, in this case, it would be about here, okay? Now when I connect to that point, I'm going to have a pyramid that looks correct, and it doesn't look like it's leaning like this one looks like it's leaning over the one side. So I want you to draw a pyramid. You could start with a box. Here's a pyramid that's on top of a box. So if let's say I draw my regular box, my box looks kind of like this. These are parallel here. And now the top of, let's make this out a little bit further, so it's about there. There's my box. And let's say I could see the back of the box. Hopefully that's light. Pick a point right between these, which is about right there. I'm going to draw two of those points. And now I've got a box that has a pyramid on top of my box. Okay? Now the other thing, back to the cylinders. This is a basic straight cylinder, but you might have a lampshade that's basically like this. It's a cone-shaped cylinder, okay? So here's my lampshade there. And then a lot of things have combinations. Like, for example, you might have a cylinder here, okay? And then you might have another cone here. And basically now you got your basic bottle shape. A bottle is a combination of cones and cylinders, and you get your basic bottle shape. But maybe there's extra things like this lip comes out a little bit or something like that. So that's basically drawing cylinders, drawing pyramids. Last would be a building which I call a box with a gabled roof, and I'll show you that in our next video.